Hi, everyone. My name is Luis Gutierrez, and I am the Director of Business Development for AppAnnie. For those of you who don't know, AppAnnie is the leading provider of data, intelligence, and analytics about mobile apps. So the question before us today is, how big can it get? And that question within the context of AppAnnie is about how big is the app marketplace and how big do we think it can get? And the short answer is that since Apple first introduced its App Store in July of 2008, its obvious apps have exploded onto the scene. They're big now, and they're going to get even bigger. So before I share some slides with you about the state of the current mobile app marketplace, I'm going to tell you a little bit first about our company and how we generate our highly accurate download and revenue mobile app estimates. So AppAnnie is a 110-plus strong company. We are based in Beijing. We have offices here in London, Tokyo, Seoul, San Francisco, which is where I work, and we are about to open an office in Moscow as well. We are a venture-backed company. We recently announced a Series C funding round led by Sequoia Capital. So there's three primary products that we have. Two are free, and one is premium. The two free products form the basis for the paid product. So the first product that we have is analytics. So if you are an app publisher, you can go onto our website and for free set up an account where you provide us with access to your data from the app stores. We take the data about your apps and redisplay it in very useful formats. This free service is so popular, in fact, that we currently have over 325,000 apps, which is a monstrous number if you think about the fact that iOS and Google Play each have 1 million apps active today that are sharing data with us. Number two, and one thing to note about that as well, is not that we have just a lot of apps sharing data with us, but also 50%, half of the largest 100 publishers by global revenue share their data with us as well. So we have a great sample size. Second is Store Stats. Store Stats gives you the ability, for free again, to look at app rankings around the world. So we currently cover 155 iOS countries, 50 Google Play countries, and 9 Amazon App Store countries. So for instance, if you're interested in seeing what are the top X apps in Brazil on iOS for the social networking category, you can do that easily on our website. And it's actually a tool that is used by a variety of journalists and tech blogs in order to bolster their stories. So analytics takes these two forms of data, and we apply a little data science magic to it, and we are able to generate highly accurate download and revenue estimates for apps. So what can we do with this data? So one thing is we can look at the mobile app marketplace in aggregate. So the bar charts you see here shows you comparing September 2012 to September 2013, what the growth rate has been as far as downloads are concerned and revenue are concerned. And as you can see, iOS and Google Play downloads have increased 50% over that time period, while revenue on a global basis has grown twofold. So how about each individual platform, iOS versus Google Play? How are they doing relative to each other? So the first thing to note is that Google Play, as of last quarter, is actually generating 25% more downloads globally than iOS, which is actually something that happened earlier this year where Google Play overtook iOS. Number two is iOS still continues to generate more revenue versus Google Play on a global basis by 2x, which is actually narrowed, where if you had looked at this data last year, iOS actually had 4 times as much revenue as Google Play. So how are apps making money? Well, the dark orange and dark blue bars showed a combination of paid-mium apps and freemium apps. So apps that you pay to download with in-app purchases and free apps with in-app purchases. And the light blue and the light orange bars represent paid apps without any in-app purchases. So it's very clear that if you want to monetize, in-app purchases are crucial. So we can drill down into the data a little bit further by looking at the country level. So here we're looking at Google Play information on both a download and revenue basis, and again comparing September of 2012 to September 2013 data. So looking at the list, you can see that the #1 country with the most downloads on Google Play was the United States, #2 South Korea. You can go down the list. As far as revenue is concerned, Japan and Korea are the top 2. Interestingly, Japan and South Korea actually account for nearly half of all Google Play global revenue as far as apps are concerned. You can also see we put some bullet points in there as far as Hong Kong, which jumped 16 spots to #8. And that was all a function of the fact that Google Play managed to implement carrier billing in Hong Kong, which actually raises some interesting questions as far as Google Play's hopeful entry into the Chinese market at some point, which, as you may know, has literally hundreds of Android stores. So how about categories? What's going on as far as categories are concerned? Here we're looking at iOS data as opposed to Google Play data. So you see on the left-hand side the rank by downloads, and the right side the rank by revenue. So games, perhaps unsurprisingly, are not only the most downloaded apps around the world on iOS, but also generate the most revenue. You can go down the list. Entertainment, photo and video. Photo and video has seen a surge largely on the back of short, shareable apps. Instagram and Vine are probably primary examples. As far as revenue is concerned, I think the interesting ones here are music, which jumped up 5 spots, but also news. News jumped up 4 spots. And that's interesting because if you look at the top 10 highest revenue-generating news apps on iOS globally, 6 of the top 10 are iPad apps, which makes sense, but it's unusual also for a category to be dominated by iPad apps as opposed to iPhone apps. So how about publishers? What's going on as far as individual publishers are concerned? So the #1 publisher, as far as revenue is concerned, on iOS in September was Supercell, on the back of just 2 apps, Heyday and Clash of Clans, which if you look at, for example, #4, EA, has 818 titles, but yet managed only to rank #4 as far as revenue is concerned. You can also take a look at the data according to app-specific information. So here you're looking at Google Play downloads excluding games. I think the interesting one here that we have a bullet point is Clean Master, which is an app that I personally had not heard of, although I have both an iOS and an Android phone, but it's an app that allows you to improve the efficiency of your apps. So that's the type of information that our intelligence product allows our clients to use. So who are our clients? Well, our clients are not simply game publishers. Our products are actually used by an increasingly diverse set of industries. So the platforms are clients of ours. They're interested in, for example, looking at which apps are making headway in other platforms and how they can invite those publishers to create on their platform. We also have old media companies who are looking to break into the important app market, realizing that hard copy is something which is difficult to maintain. And even car companies are buying our data. Why? Because they realize that in order to compete and differentiate themselves, they need to be able to provide technology, probably in travel and navigation sectors, in order to compete. So if you're interested in learning more about AppAnnie, I invite you to visit our website at AppAnnie.com. And thank you for your time.